Now, one of the circumstances under which FB name cannot return the user's name to you is if the user is not logged in. And what I've done now is to log out and to go back to the application without being logged in. You see I have the ability to sign up for Facebook or to log in here, and I am greeted by that same code using FB name with the default Facebook user text. And it says, "Welcome to Main Street Pics." In addition to greeting me by that default text, which as you saw inside the FB name element, I can change that default text. In addition to greeting me that way, I have text that you didn't see here when I was logged in. When I was logged in, I was greeted by name, and there was a link that let me invite my friends right away to use the application. Now I'm not logged in, I can't invite my friends, but I have some information about the application. This is also done with FBML elements, because there are FBML elements that, in addition to retrieving data from the database, such as FB name, there are elements that let you control the processing of the page that you are creating. So let's take a look at what is happening here in the code that lets me alternate between those two versions. First of all, up here at the top of the file, and we will be seeing this code many, many times, this is standard boilerplate code that we have at the beginning of just about every file in the application. What's important here is this line of code that is commented out. It requires login, and if the user is not logged into Facebook, it puts up that dialog, so you enter your login ID and your password. This is now commented out, so that means that someone can get into this application without being logged into Facebook. If they do not see their name, and they get some information about the application. And this is done down here using the FBML if is app user element. And this is a more complex one, and this is structured the way the control FBML elements are structured. First of all, there's an opening element, there's a closing tag, within it there's another FBML control element, the else, with an opening tag and a closing tag. And here you can see I have checked to see if the logged in user is using this app. That's what FBML if is app user means. I have to pass in a user ID. It's the logged in user, whoever is running this application, and it will return true if that user is logged in. Now, in that case, I can greet the user by first name and say, "Welcome to Main Street Pics." And then this is the link that for logged in users provides an invitation to invite your friends so that they can share. The else statement says if someone is not logged in, I will say hi, and notice I'm using the same code here, but because the user is not logged in, the option in FB name that provides me simply with Facebook user for the username, that's the code that is used. And then the text that I entered here, instead of the invitation for the logged in user, here I have a description of what the application allows you to do. Now, this idea of allowing people to not log in to get to the beginning of your application is very, very important, because it is the case that many people, when they first see the dialog that says, "Do you want to allow this application to access your profile data?" some people say, "Well, what is this application? What does it do?" And if you can show people what you do, then they get a sense of what's going on, and they can be wiser consumers, if you will. Now, what happens is some of the pages, as we go more deeply into the application, do require login. In other words, the line that is commented out here is not commented out in many of the other files. So that if, for example, I want to browse pics, that page does not have that line commented out. The line Facebook require login is in. So if I click on browse pics, what's going to happen is that Facebook will see that I require a login to get to that page, and it is going to give me the opportunity to log in and allow this application to access the user's data. And that's the key part. I can do it from various places, but as you are developing your Facebook application, it's very important to consider very seriously allowing your first page to be visible even to people who haven't logged in to use your application, so they can get a taste of what's going on and then click through every single link on that publicly visible page and make certain that you get to a login when you require it. It may be for some apps that you want to let people go fairly deeply into the application before requiring login. So that's up to you. Just make certain that you know where that barrier is, the login barrier, and that you access it properly and make certain that what you want to happen will happen. So now I can log in. Click the login button, and I will go back into the application, and I should be going into the Browse Pics page that I can now get to because I have logged into the application. And now I am in the Browse Pics tab, and I'm able to get to it because you can see my name is up here, and I could log out. So I'm logged in now. And that's a good example of allowing as much access as possible to the first page and creating a login where necessary. And that was done by not having require login on the first page and by checking to see if it is a logged in user who is an app user, and if not, you can have different welcome text.